Dear beloved in Jesus Christ, welcome to the reflections of 32nd Ordinary Sunday, Year C. This year, this 32nd Ordinary Sunday falls on 9th of November, a day dedicated to celebrate the solemnity of the dedication of the Lateran Basilica. So on this day, let us know some historical facts about the Lateran Basilica and the faith that we receive because of the celebration of this dedication. To begin with, let me tell you some historical facts how the Lateran Basilica has come into existence. Lateran Basilica has three names. Initially, the Basilica was called the Basilica of Christ the Savior. Later, it was also called as the Basilica of Saint John the Baptist. And the third name it possesses is the Basilica of Saint John the Apostle or Saint John the Evangelist. This basilica was built by Emperor Constantine in 324 BCE after he announced Christianity as the official religion of Rome. And from then on, for 1,000 years and above, all the popes resided in this Lateran Basilica and ruled the church. But later, due to some unfortunate things, both man-made and natural, the Basilica fell into ruins. To mention the major changes in the history of the Basilica, in 1309, a pope named Pope Clement V moved the papacy from Lateran Basilica to a place called Avignon in France. This deportation was done due to political uncertainty and the natural calamities happening in Lateran Basilica. The papacy was there in Avignon for almost 70 years, and in 1377, Pope Gregory XI brought back the papacy to Rome. But when the papacy is brought back to Rome, the physical condition of the Lateran Basilica was not so sophisticated and not so well furnished. By then, St. Peter's Basilica, which is now present residence of the Pope, was ready to reside. So popes started living in St. Peter's Basilica from 1377. But note the point, even now the official cathedral of the Pope is the Lateran Basilica, not St. Peter's Basilica. The Lateran Basilica is called Mother of all the churches, and that is the beginning of our faith. Dear friends, for years and centuries, the Basilica had to be remodeled and worked upon, but never completely demolished. Faith has difficulties, but never left out by its master, Jesus Christ. On this feast day, the liturgy of the day, the first reading, second reading, and the third reading also speaks about the importance of the temple of God, the importance of the community, the importance of the church and its faith. In the first reading, which is taken from the book of Ezekiel, we listen about the beatific vision Prophet Ezekiel sees about a temple. And it is told, water flows from the temple, giving life and restoration for all those areas where there was no life. Exegetically, this beatific vision was given to Ezekiel after the Babylonian exile. This implies the lost glory of Israel will be brought back, and that is seen in this vision. Yahweh, with the help of Prophet Ezekiel, brought back the lost glory of Israel, and they all will be flourishing with the grace of God, just like the water flowing from the temple gives life to all those places where it was dried up. The second reading is taken from the first letter to the Corinthians. Here, St. Paul speaks about the temple of God as a single unity. The context of this reading was the division in the fractions of the community. The Corinthian community started fighting among themselves for the leaders of the church. Some people started following Apollos and some others started following Paulus. And then St. Paul comes and tells, it's neither Apollos nor Paul, it is the church of Christ. He himself is the founder, he will make everything united together. In saying so, he tells the church is the community of people led by Jesus Christ, and it is God's alone. Either it's Paulus or Apollos, both are working for the same purpose. Saying this, he unifies the members of the community, and community is built up, faith grows. The gospel passage is taken from the Gospel of St. John chapter 2. And in this episode, we hear that he is cleansing the temple from all that is not supposed to be in the temple. Unlike the synoptic gospels, this episode is placed at the beginning of his public ministry. He comes and cleanses the temple, and he tells how holy the temple is. So dear friends, from all these three readings, we understand the sanctity of the temple, the place of worship. And at the same time, temple does not imply the physical walls of a structure. It implies the community, the faith in which Jesus built, and we are supposed to follow that faith. So dear friends, on this great feast of the dedication of the Lateran Basilica, let us take one important notion for our Christian living. The church had to see so many difficulties from the beginning, but never broken down altogether. The church has to experience persecutions. Church has to come down on divisions, but never completely broken because the Master holds it tight. Dear friends, in our life too, when we have difficulties, when we lack faith, remember our Master is with us and we will never be broken down into pieces completely. Keep the faith and we will be strong like a house built on a rock solid. And we will also stand like the church that is built by Jesus Christ. That God bless us all. Have a blessed Sunday.